joint presentation from Kenneth Quek of InterSystems and Sok Keng Oh of Optimi. Kenneth is an expert in data management with over 2 decades of experience in fintech, while Sok Keng is an industrial leader with over 27 years in financial services and technology. Together, they bring a wealth of knowledge on how AI is reshaping the financial landscape. Let us welcome Kenneth and Sok Keng.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kenneth, as they already introduced myself, and I'm Kenneth from InterSystems. So let me share a little bit more about InterSystems. So InterSystems is a 46 years old company. We've been, let me click. Yeah, so we are present in 80 countries and we have about 37 legal entities all over the world. So we are still in, our HQ is still in Cambridge, Boston, and currently I'm taking care of the Southeast Asia, one of the hub for InterSystems. Right, so let me go very quickly. Okay, so InterSystems is a data platform which our core market is in healthcare and BFSI. So we are in a data platform, we also a database. So we actually see through the entire evolution of data platform. So everybody in year 2000, we started with data warehouse, and year 2010, people are talking about data lake. Currently, we are talking about data fabric and data mesh. And this is, as InterSystems Iris data platform, that we are able to see through the evolution. And today we have our own data fabric studio and smart data fabric. Yeah. So what are the features that we have in our data fabric? Of course, today's topic we are talking about AI. Later, Sok Keng will share more how Optimi develop their Gen AI product on InterSystems. So we also do data orchestration, and we are also doing transactional and real-time data. Our biggest, our customer base in BFSI are the top, probably the top 11 of 20 world wealth banking. So the key product that we are always running, because we are a performance database, so we are able to run like transaction like 12 to 15 transactions per second, mainly for order management, pre-trade, post-trade. Right. So let me go to the next one. So these are, we are the backbone of some innovation. As you can see, all the brand name here, Broadridge. Broadridge actually built, Broadridge, they have a suite of technology and solution, and mainly InterSystems is their backbone to develop solution. Yeah. So FinServ, FIS is also our long-term partner in BFSI. So we are a very robust data engineering platform. So I think nowadays we are talking about the data consumer, a lot of focus on data consumer, especially for Gen AI. So you need a data for data scientists and all that. So we are able to ingest data from message stream, service provider data, and different databases. Yeah, so we also have, the key thing that we also have a multi-model model database, and we also, of course, I mean, currently people are talking about vector, coroner database. This is all incorporated in a single data platform. So we also have our machine learning AI in our Iris data platform too. Yeah. So we, although we have our proprietary development language called ObjectScript, but currently we are also able to use Python as a native programming language. So what the data consumer that we are talking about is data portfolio management. I think Sok Keng will share more. quant data scientists. So they actually, a lot of data scientists actually use our data platform to build their model because of the data source that we can ingest real time and performance. Yeah. So again, I think I think this event we hear about a lot of risk management. So we also can use this data platform as a risk calculator. So the last one I mentioned, which is order management apps or application, I think most of the wealth banking in the top global bank, they are using our data platform for pre, post, and currently we are also working on real-time post-trade analytics. Yeah. So let me introduce my partner, Sok Kian. Yeah. So Sok Kian will elaborate more how our data platform is used in optimized solution, and you guys have a clearer picture. Yeah. Over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Kenneth and SC, for this fantastic opportunity. It is a privilege to be here to share about the exciting work that we are working on with Gen AI. So I'm Sok Kian, Sales and Marketing Director of Optimi. I'm here today actually with Kim Piao, our CEO and co-founder. Kim Piao was actually trained in AI, and he has always been passionate about optimization and AI. So our company was named Optimi when we started more than 2 decades ago. We'll be discussing about Gen AI-infused solutions for capital markets. But first, I'm actually quite curious about this audience. Is there anyone here that is from investment banks? Anyone from security, from fund management companies? Okay, thank you. So here's the agenda for today. We will start with a short introduction to Optimi. Then we will delve into our Gen AI capabilities, showcasing our first Gen AI use case, the Portfolio AI Copilot. Then we will discuss hot topics around Gen AI, data integrity, transparency, and privacy. And then we'll look at a suite of our capital market solutions tailored for Malaysia, which includes share margin financing, corporate action, security, borrowing and lending, collateral scoring. And we will look at how Gen AI can actually enhance these solutions. So a quick snapshot of who we are and what we do. So at Optimi, we are actually problem solvers at heart. We dive deep into clients' challenges, and that has led us to develop a powerful suite of solutions for financial institutions. And along the way, we gain a lot of domain knowledge that is so invaluable for our work. For fund management companies, we have 3 key solutions: investment data warehouse, portfolio management and analytics system, as well as our latest innovation, Portfolio AI Copilot. We also cater to investment banks with a wide range of solutions, and this includes share margin financing, collateral scoring, corporate action, security, borrowing, and lending. And on top of this, we actually also have dual currency deposit, loan management, Islamic factoring, and all these solutions that I just named, they have been localized for the Malaysian market. So what makes us unique and what is different about us is actually, you see right at the bottom, REAP, that is our Rapid Enterprise Application Platform. Now, every financial institution, even if you're doing the same business, you're actually different, right? And so REAP actually allow us to quickly customize additional modules to suit your business needs. We are headquartered in Singapore, and in Malaysia, we work with the large retail and digital brokerages. We set up a subsidiary here in Malaysia to provide local support. We have been recognized with multiple awards. In 2019, we received a FinTech Award at the Singapore FinTech Festival, and we were also a top 10 finalist at the UBS Future of Finance Challenge. In 2021, we won the Investment Management Association of Singapore Digital Acceleration Challenge. And we are, of course, proud partners of InterSystem, Bloomberg, Microsoft, and NVIDIA. Now, let's go into the discussion around Gen AI. What is Gen AI and why should we care? At this year's World Economic Forum, Accenture published a report on the future of work in the era of Gen AI. They surveyed 19 industries globally, and guess what? Capital markets actually came up tops. Respondents believe that over 70% of all working hours in capital markets could be transformed by Gen AI. And this presents enormous opportunity to augment your processes, reinvent your workflow, and create hyper-personalized customer experiences. Even within Optimize, we use Gen AI extensively for every aspect of our work, and we are already seeing how that can improve our productivity and even reinvent our business. Take this presentation, for example. Everything that you see from the script that you're hearing to the content of the slide and the video that I'll be sharing later, Gen AI tools have actually powered our daily work. So let's introduce our first Gen AI use case, the Portfolio AI Copilot, PAT. So just as Microsoft Copilot is a smart assistant for Microsoft systems, like Office and Teams, Optimize Copilot are smart assistants that allows users to interact with Optimize system via a smart chatbot. So PAT is actually integrated to our portfolio management and analytics system. And here's what PAT can do for fund managers. You can simply ask PAT about your portfolio in plain English, and you can get tailored portfolio commentaries incorporating market news and outlook. We'll share a video on PAT shortly. So PAT isn't just for fund managers. As we talk to the market, the banks are also interested in similar solutions. They are interested to have a similar tool for their RMs to better serve their clients. And for those of you that are in investment banks with share margin financing, you can implement a PAT-like assistant too. I'll share more about that later on. I think next we will go into a video.
Welcome to our Portfolio AI Copilot PAT demo, showcasing the future of investment management using the power of Gen AI. Let's delve into a conversation between the portfolio manager and PAT. The user requests an automated portfolio report. Instantly, PAT generates a comprehensive commentary covering portfolio change over period, gain-loss attribution, portfolio return and risk, and comparison against benchmark. The user further requests for PAT to drill down on each of the significant metrics mentioned in the report. PAT instantly provides the allocation, performance and risk analysis by asset type, currency, country, sector, and individual securities. PAT can also seamlessly integrate your firm's market outlook, investment ideas, company news, and model portfolios into its commentary for portfolio rebalancing, ensuring your investments stay aligned with your goals and market conditions.
So what we just saw is PAT can create customized portfolio reports on demand, incorporating portfolio metrics, market outlooks, relevant company news. The best part is every report is actually tailored for specific stocks and markets in that portfolio. So you can provide every client with a personalized, up-to-date report on demand. So recently we did a demo to some fund managers, and after the demo, they actually look at one another and they say, wow, you and me don't need to work already. You know, PAT is going to take away our job. So we have a good laugh with them and we say, no, now we are going to have more time to play golf with your clients, you know, because Gen AI cannot play golf. They would just take care of the mundane stuff. So right now we are piloting PAT at selected sites, and it is generating draft reports for fund managers, which they can review and fine-tune before sending to clients. So there is still a human in the loop. So why did we actually work on PAT? In our work with fund management companies, we observed that fund managers, they actually dedicate a lot of time to preparing portfolio statements for their ultra high net worth clients. So, they start with standard reports. Some have systems to help them with the standard reports. Some still rely on Excel. And after that, they need to manually incorporate the relevant company news and market outlook, and then even translate the report to another language for their foreign clients. And that takes up a lot of time, sometimes up to 2 weeks per report. And that's why we ask ourselves how we can do that better. Okay, so just now when we shared the video, you may think that the video, the report that you have seen in the video is not exactly what you need. PAT can actually tailor different reports for different use cases. So we know that the fund managers here in Malaysia, you need to produce quarterly and annual reports, annual fund reports. And some of you told us that this is, a real headache. You don't feel, it's not every day that you want to write a report, in the state to write a report. So now you can request PAT to generate a comprehensive draft fund reports incorporating fund performance, movement of funds versus benchmark, asset allocation, your strategy that was employed, the market outlook, investment outlook, performance attribution, exposure, etc. And the fund manager can actually draft and add personal insights, and they can get the report ready in a fraction of the time that it would normally take. Next, this is an example of another visually appealing portfolio statement that could be useful for banks and investment banks. You may want to provide visually appealing portfolio statements, and this is an example of a share margin financing statement. So each statement is customized to individual clients, incorporating their individual share margin financing account details with charts, company news, market outlook of the stocks and market that they are invested in. When it comes to Gen AI, these questions come up again and again. Data integrity, transparency, and data privacy. So let's look at these crucial issues. This is an extract of an article published in just June this year. A major US bank, a household name, is actually accused of trying to implement AI on the back of Excel spreadsheets. Now, with all the buzz on Gen AI, like everybody else, this bank, doesn't want to lose out on leveraging Gen AI. But their problem is, like many financial institutions, their data is actually fragmented, sitting in different data warehouse and even in Excel. Unfortunately, I think if you try to layer AI on Excel, it's going to be quite difficult, very challenging. And that's why many organizations, they spend years collecting data in data warehouses and in data lakes. Gen AI solutions that is layered on broken, inaccurate data does not really help that much. This is actually another extract. This is an article by InterSystem on the top data and technology challenges in financial services. It is a global survey of 554 business leaders, and this chart shows how many financial institutions, actually they are still facing very critical data challenges. And the top issues are, it takes too long to access data, and user cannot get data from all the required sources and format. And I guess many of the financial institutions here can relate to these challenges. So the financial institution actually need to get the data right before layering on Gen AI. We mentioned earlier that one of our solutions is actually an investment data warehouse. We have worked on data challenges for more than 2 decades now, and we have various key differentiators, which we will be happy to share with you separately. Implementing an investment data warehouse can be a very complex process. The good news is you can leverage on our extensive experience and our ready-based model. It will save the financial institution a lot of time in project implementation. The key takeaway is getting the data right actually takes a lot of time, so do begin working on it if you have not already done so. We'll use the next series of slides to discuss transparency fact-checking mechanism, and at the same time we'll showcase how you can have interactive conversation with our co-pilot. Now, user can actually query the portfolio return and request for it to be presented in a table. So PAT actually outlines its thought processes before generating a response, allowing users to validate the approach. So this transparency ensures that PAT is not operating as a black box. So GenAI is actually known to have hallucination risk, which means it can make up fake information that sounds true, but it's actually false. It's just like human being, right? Not everything that we say all the time is 100% correct. So what we have done is we have implemented fact-checking mechanism behind the scene, and we further empower users to verify the generated portfolio metrics against the dashboard. This slide shows that users can actually make follow-up queries if required. So here is a user asking for additional information after reviewing the initial response, and then PAT can actually add additional information to the table as required. The user extends the query, and then PAT can actually update the table accordingly. And the commentary is actually updated as well. And PAT can do more than just ask questions. It can actually suggest questions to guide data discovery. So users select one of the suggested questions, and the PAT will actually follow through with the response as requested. So let's discuss data privacy concerns on GenAI. It is a concern for many of us. So we actually prioritize data privacy. We ensure data anonymity by not providing personal identifiable information to the large language model. Now, various large language models' privacy policies also guarantee that data sent via APIs will not be used to train the large language models. So for clients that remain hesitant, we ensure that our system works well with open source large language model, offering the option to self-host LLMs. I have a series of slides on share margin financing. Maybe I will just go through just one of them to give you a flavor of what we can do for all this capital market solution. So our share margin financing is actually our flagship product, widely used by retail brokers in Singapore and now by the large and retail and digital broker in Malaysia. It is very feature-rich. If you are doing share margin financing, all these things will speak to you, because cash and contra, finance and free and paid shares, equity ratio, price cards, third-party pledge or transferor, margin redemption, corporate action statements, secrets reporting, e-lease reporting, e-invoicing, interfaces to CFT 002, FRA, trading front end, and accounting system. We even support Islamic share margin financing, the commodity murabaha. So we have advanced features, tools like dynamic pricing, dynamic margin valuation. Now, what we have done is that we can actually integrate a share margin co-pilot. What happened is that in the past, sometimes our customers will actually extract the whole database into Excel, and then they do their own analytics. But now with the Copilot, you can actually ask any questions on the data at any point. So if you are running a campaign, you can analyze the campaign results. Ask the bot, what's the number of new clients and what is the contribution to the loan book interest income. You can ask them to analyze the remisiers performance by loan book, analyze the margin call cases. If you see a revenue went up or down, was that contributed by your new clients or your existing clients? You can ask the bot to list the clients who entered the top 50 by revenue. So we can also generate margin statements with visually appealing charts and incorporate the market news and the market outlook. So we have co-pilots that we can integrate to our capital market solution. If you are interested to know more, do come to our booth. We are at booth 5 right outside, and I will be happy to discuss more with you on how you can use GenAI to actually change your working hours for your team. It's transformation. We've seen it firsthand at Optimi. I think my slot is time's up, and do you have any questions? We will take any questions from the floor.
All right, thank you, Kenneth and Sok Keng, for the insightful presentation. It is truly inspiring to see how artificial intelligence is pushing the boundaries of innovation in fintech. I personally have been using AI in many instances of my life. In fact, this very script that I use for hosting is generated by generative AI.
Mine too.
Yeah, we're in the same boat then.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to the Q&A session. If there are any questions from the audience, please submit them through the Slido. We have the QR code in front, and then we'll address them now. So we're gonna give like 5 minutes of the time. So the first question from Mr. Dave Chiu. It is a good need for mutual funds to tokenize.
I think that's a Web3 question.
Yeah, this is a Web3 question.
I'm not an expert in Web3, so I'm in no position to answer that question. Yeah, the better experts in the audience.
No worries. It's okay. Please feel free to give your questions via the QR code in front.
But I was just curious if that question was asked by someone in the audience here, or was it by the previous? Maybe it wasn't by this audience. If not, I'll try to share our perspective. But maybe it's not from this audience.
Is Mr. Dave Chiu here?
Yeah, maybe it was an earlier question.
Perhaps can put some light into the question. Is it related to endeavors by Optimi or InterSystems?
Okay, how the users verify the data and any historical portfolio considered? Now, the GenAI, the portfolio AI Copilot, is actually incorporated, is layered on top of our investment data warehouse. Right? So the data is from my warehouse. At the back, I can implement fact-checking mechanism. And at the front end, I can also allow the user to verify the data. Any data that they want to see, they can actually compare it against the dashboard. Yeah. GenAI and others like it are great to save time with work, but in cases where we use it to generate reports, how do we get around the data privacy concerns? A very good question. Now, the danger of GenAI is that if the organization does not provide GenAI, a lot of people could just bring GenAI to work, right? I mean, it's just ChatGPT on my phone, I can bring it to work. I can even use it on my laptop. The danger is if you don't give them a system, would they then send information, via PDF and forget to mask maybe the sensitive information, right? So for us, we make sure that the data that is sent, all the sensitive information has been masked already, right? It is a productivity tool. It's a productivity tool. But before sending the information to the large language model, we mask the data. The second thing that we do is that we make sure that the information is sent via APIs. So the large language model like Claude or even ChatGPT, they actually in their data privacy says that any data that is sent via APIs will not be used to train their large language model. And the third option that we put in place is that we make sure that our pet can sit on those open source large language model, right? So you have the option to self-host the large language model. And these are 3 ways that you can ensure data privacy concern. Was it challenging in adopting GenAI to replace legacy system? Well, we actually do not seek to use GenAI to replace legacy system. We have a whole suite of we have a whole suite of work that we can do together to replace legacy systems depending on what legacy system you want to replace. This GenAI is actually layered on our solution. So it does not on its own replace legacy system. That is actually another very big topic that again we'll be happy to discuss with you offline. Is your dashboard customizable? Can we create our own reports and analytics using our preferred tools? Yes, our dashboard is customizable because every company is different. So during project implementation, we always talk to the team. We will always run through what we have, and then we can discuss what works, right? If required, it can be customized. Do you have any experience in building a solution in Malaysia? And if yes, what are the usual concerns your clients tend to have? Yes, we have actually a wide suite, I think at least 7 solutions, including share margin financing, corporate action, security borrowing and lending, dual currency deposits, Islamic factoring, loan management system. So we have a wide suite of solutions that has already been localized. We are actually headquartered in Singapore. Actually, even though we are very, we look the same and we talk the same, but in a real world situation, in how you implement your product is actually quite different. So a solution is already customized for Malaysia, right? You don't need to start from scratch. It's already customized. Even your securities reporting, your e-lease reporting, or for security borrowings and lending, you need to take some files from Bursa, you need to do some reporting of the fees. All this has already been built into our solution. Right, and now what are the usual concerns that our clients tend to have? Our clients want to have local support. That's always the number one thing. They will say, do you have an office in Malaysia? We say, yes, we have a team here and we can provide local support. And of course, our team in Singapore is always ready to provide remote support. And we also come up to Malaysia very frequently. Data privacy?
Yeah, possibly one more question.
Okay, yeah. Data privacy, can you explain masking and sending in API more? Suppose we need to compile several documents and need to summarize, find pattern, how? Okay, so we will not send several documents to the board. We actually have an investment data warehouse. So a lot of the data preparation work is actually done by the investment data warehouse. When we use the Gen AI, there are actually 3 key areas that we look for. One is we actually allow the user to do data discovery of the data that is in our database, right? So that is just still within the system, within your environment. Then, if required, it will go to the internet to pull information. Again, for that, I don't have to send a lot of documents, right? The data aggregation is actually done by the data warehouse already, right? And then the third part is that after we pull the information from the internet, we can actually use the bot to compile it into portfolio commentary so that you don't just see numbers or, like Google search. Everything can be compiled nicely into a report for you. That's my last question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to our presenters, Kenneth and Sok Keng. Thank you also for your questions from the audience. Feel free to connect with the speakers if you have further questions. And once again, thank you, Sok Keng and Kenneth, for the fantastic session. All right. Okay, for our next speaker, we're gonna invite T. Kok Ong, also known as TK. He's a business development director at Samsung, which is also one of our gold sponsors for the summit. He is a cybersecurity expert with over 25 years of experience in identity management and data security. Today, he will be discussing how fintech companies can streamline onboarding processes and mitigate digital fraud risk. Please welcome him to the stage.
Okay, good morning. All right, so in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share with you about 3 key steps on how we can protect ourselves against fraud and financial crimes. Yeah, since fraud is basically a growing concern, all right, that are affecting many people, right, including some of us in this room. Okay, and obviously, one of the steps is to use AI technology. Right. So since the MC has introduced myself a little bit more about myself, so the last 25 years I've been doing cybersecurity, specializing in identity security and application security. All right. So 7 months ago, I've decided to switch from cybersecurity into digital fraud and financial crime. Okay. It has been a very enriching journey so far. Almost every day, I learn new buzzword, new term, new acronym. Okay. Whenever time permit, I will try to play at least 2 games of golf per month. All right. So that is a little bit about myself. Okay, just before I talk about the key step, I just want to share with you some statistics. Let's look at the current state of fraud, right? So if you look at the fraud and financial crime, all right, money laundering. So based on the survey done back in 2023, it was actually detected that at least 800 billions was laundered every year. Yeah, that is the amount that is what we call detected. The undetected, I'm not too sure. It could be 3 times, could be 4 times more. Okay, so if you look at it, it is a big industry. It's a big business, right? It's double the Malaysian GDP. Okay, so don't be surprised. There are a lot of businesses hiring the best people to run this business. Okay, they need to be ahead of us. Okay, then look at the current wave. A mind-boggling 1 trillion lost due to digital fraud. Okay, and 2 billion scam victims. To be honest, I'm also a scam victim before, 25 years ago. All right, I was a investment scam victim, right? So back then, it's a very straightforward. My friend just approached me, said, hey, TK, you know, you need to invest $1,000, okay? Then you need to go and recruit 4 friends. Each of them will invest another $1,000, right? Then you will recoup your initial investment, okay? Today, the tactic remains the same. It's just they are convincing with a product, all right? And if you look at the other statistics, less than 1% of the scammers are being caught, all right? And no, you know, that's why you see that today there's no physical bank robbery. Nobody are carrying a gun and rob a physical bank anymore, all right? It's too risky, all right? I would rather sit, you know, behind my desk in front of my computer to scam people, all right? That's the reality, yeah? So look at the next wave. So the criminals are now using AI to scam people, all right? So in APAC, we are detecting more than 1,500% increase of scammer using deepfake, 10 times of deepfake detected worldwide, all right? Then let's look at on the local front. Last year alone, right, in Malaysia, based on the source from National Scam Response Center, we have reported more than 1.3 billion, right? With a total of 33,000 crime cases reported, okay? And he also mentioned that more than 2/3 of Malaysians have encountered scam at some point of their life, right? So these are some of the top fraud and scam cases that were reported in Malaysia. So my question to all of you is, why didn't we detect and stop all these type of fraudulent scam and suspicious transaction? Anyone want to guess the reason behind? Okay, so based on my 7 months of learning and research, a couple of reasons. Number one is they are taking advantage of people's greed and emotion. All right, this is something that technology cannot solve. Cannot solve the problem. All right, so the only way to do this is through education and awareness. All right, so this basically shows that we are still not doing enough education and awareness. We need to do a lot more, right, to prevent such cases, scam cases, okay? Another reason is I think that a lot of organizations are still using a little bit outdated technology, right? So I've spoken to a couple of prospects. A lot of them are telling me that the user verification, also known as KYC, is running on one platform. Their transaction monitoring is running on another platform. Their anti-money laundering screening is on another platform. They are all not. Even though they are integrated, they do not give the user a 360 view of their applicants or their customers. Okay? Another reason that I can think of is this criminal, this scammer, fraudster, they have access to all our playbook. They know exactly what we are monitoring. Okay? All they need to do is to go to the regulator website, because all this information are publicly available. So they know exactly what we are monitoring, what are the activity they are monitoring. Okay? So these are some of the key reasons why some of these fraudulent transaction, scams, tactics are able to slip through our verification system, our detection system. Okay? All right? So hence the 3 key steps, right? Number 1, we need to broaden our awareness and expand our educational coverage. So I'll give you an example, yeah? Let's do a quick poll. Which group of people do we need to train and educate? 1. Oh, so sorry, I think that is a numbering issue, right? Which group of people? The first one, the second, third, fourth, fifth, or all the above? All the above? Agreed? Yeah? Everyone agreed it's all the above. So now my question is, I've actually tested this with my daughter who is 18 years old, right? So first thing I asked her, do you know what is the meaning of money laundering? Yes, she knows, right? She understands what is money laundering. Then the second question I asked her, what is money mule? No idea, right? 7 months ago, I also do not know what is money mule. Today, of course, I understood, right? Now, then the next thing is I actually used an account trying to find content on TikTok and Instagram about money mule. I can't find it, okay? Now, if you say that we need to educate all of this group of people, what are the content that we have created for the young people and students? Okay, ask ourselves, have we created enough content to educate this group of people? All right, that's why I said we need to broaden our awareness. We need to expand our education, all right, to cover all group of people, right? So earlier on day 1, the SC chairman also mentioned, right? These young people, students, they no longer read, right? They only view. So we need to create more content on Instagram and TikTok to at least cover this group of people. Okay? All right? So what I did, of course, I need to also walk the talk, right? So ever since myself get into this space, I have actually created a safe word. All right? So I told my wife and my daughter that if anyone claims to be me, all right, whether it's a video call or voice call, you need to ask them what is the safe word. This is the best way, all right, the low-tech way to detect deepfake. Yeah, to detect deepfake, right? You know how scary is deepfake technology. This is the best way to detect deepfake, low-tech. Okay, so I created a safe word. So I use a particular, I know something that all of us, 3 of us know the words, right? And then the other thing is, I also create, I've also starting to share a lot of news. Whenever, of course, you will see that on the Star, we have this Jangan Kena Scam initiative. So every time when I see there is a reported news, I will capture it, and then I will share in the family groups. All right. Now I have extended this to immediate family, right? And every now and then I will also share it with my friend, right? The main purpose is I want them to be aware. And I also reminded my daughter, please read, because she doesn't read on the WhatsApp. So I have to remind her to read all those articles that I shared with her. Okay? Now, the other most important thing is also make sure you use a good password and make sure all your application has a unique password. Very important. I know some of you in this room are using the same password for many applications, but please use unique password for each application. Okay? 4 weeks ago, I have a friend, auntie. Okay? She made a purchase via a link sent to her via WhatsApp. Right? Very unfortunate, she was using an Android phone. And as you know, there are a lot of malicious APK for Android phone. Okay? So she went ahead and clicked on the link, make the purchase. make a down payment of 3 ringgit. So she went into the bank account, log into the bank account, all right, make that initial 3 ringgit payment, all right? Because the phone is installed with malicious APK, effectively that phone are being remotely controlled, right? So I can actually now, the scammer can actually knows the password. Now, unfortunately, the same password, she used the same password for the second bank account. So in total, she lost all her money in 2 bank accounts, 1 e-wallet, 1 digital FD, as well as 1 credit card, maxed out within 2 to 3 hours. Because when she came out, she noticed that a lot of OTP messages on her mobile phone. Okay? So please, if you can, use unique password. Don't use the same password for many applications. All right? Okay, another quick poll. All right? If I've been scammed or you have been scammed, what should I do first? Which agency to call? National Scam Response Center? Your banks? Make a police report? Or keep it to yourself? Anyone? If you become a scam victim, what do you do first? It's very important, yeah? Do you call the bank, or you call the National Scam Response Center, or you call the police, make a police report? The bank, yeah? The bank, all right, yeah. So I will choose the bank. Why? The bank call center operates 24/7. The National Scam Response Center operates from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, although the police also operates 24/7, they have a lot of other priority. Okay? Now, so the step will be contact your bank, make a report, and then followed by National Scam Response Center. Why National Scam Response Center? Because we have recently also in Malaysia, we have actually launched a national fraud portal. All right, that will allow us to have better tracing in terms of the transaction and the money transfer. Okay? Does anyone knows the number to call the National Scam Response Center? What's the number? Anyone? What's the number to call National Scam Response Center? You see? That's why I said we need to broaden our awareness, right? It is 997. Yeah? Remember this number is very important, yeah? It's very important. 997 is to make a report with National Scam Response Center. Okay, step 2. We need to think like them. We need to think like a criminal. Why? Because I already mentioned to you, they have access to our playbook. They have access to our guideline. We don't. So hence, we need to think like them. All right? We need to think like them. We need to predict what is their next move. Okay? So I'll give you an example, another example. Which group of people is the most vulnerable to becoming money mules? The young people and students, the elderly individuals, the unemployed and financially struggling individuals, individuals with limited digital literacy, or the compliance officer and financial crime practitioner. Which group? Unemployed? Unemployed? Anyone else? Say again. Elderly? Okay. No, you have to choose one, right? Yes, all could be potentially, right? Choose one. If I would choose the first one, young people and students. Why? Because they need money, right? They need to keep up with their lifestyle, you know. So I've also tested this with my daughter, right? So I asked her, now that I educated her about money mules, so now she understands what is money mule. Then the next question is I ask her, if somebody offer her a job, the job is to go to the ATM machine and bank in 10,000 ringgit every day. Right? In return, you get 10%. Will you do it or not? She said yes, to my surprise. Okay? How difficult is that job? All right? To bank in 10,000 into the ATM machine every day in return for 10%. All right? Now, then I ask myself, what is the violation of when you become a money mule? Anyone knows what is the violation? I myself, I have to go and check, right? I mean, young people are pretty naive, right? Students are naive, right? They don't know what is the consequences, what is a violation. Okay? So, right? This is very recent, reported on 15th August. University students are among the 200,000 new account holder. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is we also need to predict, right? We need to predict what is their next move so that we can actually configure, we can actually customize, we can actually develop a new policy, a new guideline to monitor. Okay? All right. Of course, obviously, the step 3 is to using artificial intelligence, the AI, but you have to use it now, right? Don't wait any longer. Why? Okay, I'm not too sure how many of you have seen this use case. So this happened in Hong Kong a couple of months back, all right, where the scammer managed to impersonate as a chief financial officer, managed to convince a finance worker in Hong Kong to transfer $25 million US. All right? Now, these scammers are very smart, right? Because if you do a one-to-one call, maybe the finance worker will be a little bit skeptical. All right? In this call, there are 4 of them. And the finance worker was able to recognize, I think, either 3 out of 4 or 4 of them. All right? That actually convinced the finance worker to make that transaction. Okay? Using deepfake to impersonate as the company's chief financial officer. Okay? Another use case is, where the scammer are using AI technology to generate a very high quality national ID card that managed to slip through the KYC process. All right? Okay. So if all these criminals, scammers, fraudsters are using AI, are we using AI to fight against them now? Okay. So in Sums Up, we are building a lot of AI technology, right? All this technology we actually develop in-house. So we actually have all the AI-driven technology, or what we call the anti-fraud technology, built into the various verification steps or verification stages, right? Right. The whole idea here is to create multiple layers. If the fraudster managed to slip through one layer, no problem. We have another couple of layers to detect that. Okay? Okay, so for example, at the entry point, so we have actually built in our deepfake detector. Okay? As of today, we are able to detect 99.9% of any deepfake images or video that's generated. Okay, we are able to detect that. Okay, we have also built in what we call document analysis, right, to be able to detect any forgery national ID document as well as corporate documents. All right, so we are able to check whether somebody actually tampered or manipulated those documents. Okay, now another example, another technology we have built in is what we call the network intelligence analysis, right? We can actually cluster some of the data points like IP address, device fingerprint, address, selfie background, right? Selfie background, the selfie template, or what we call the background check, right? The moment we see commonality, the similarity of all this, we can cluster them together. Okay, we can cluster them together. So we actually perform a lot of analysis based on this as well. Okay, so these are some of the examples that we use AI-driven technology to detect any possible fraudulent activity or transaction. Okay, or verification. Then the other thing that we also noticed that 70% of the fraud happen after the user is onboarded. Hence, it is also important to monitor all the transactions that performed by the applicant. Okay, so under our transaction monitoring, we have two approaches. Okay, remember I was telling you initially one of the main reasons why a lot of these transactions we are not able to detect because it's using rule-based. And I also asked question, how often do you update the rule-based transaction monitoring? By right, it should be updating regularly, all right? As often as, weekly basis, monthly basis, okay? Now, of course, it's also very troublesome because rule-based are very rigid, okay? You are not able to detect all of it, okay? So hence, we also have a risk-based approach, right, for our transaction monitoring. So a risk-based is where we will do an initial benchmark of the applicant's transaction history, for example, or the behavior of the applicants, okay? And the moment we see any abnormal activities, any abnormal behavior, we will flag it up, okay? So a combination of AI-powered rule-based as well as risk-based will be a lot better to detect, okay? Any suspicious activity or transaction, okay? So here are all the AI-driven technology that we have built into our solutions, right? So I will urge and encourage all of you to visit the Samsung booth to know more about all this AI-driven technology. We can also demonstrate to you, right? If you are keen to know more about how we are able to detect deepfake, we can also demonstrate to you at our booth. All right? So three key takeaway, okay? Broaden awareness, expand the education coverage, all right? Start educating our family members, all right? That is a good way to start. Think like them, all right, so that we can predict what is the next move that they're going to take. And last but not least, use artificial intelligence now, all right? You have to embrace and adopt AI now, okay? With that, all right, these are the team, the Malaysian team. You can also reach out to any one of us. So myself, Eugene are here today at this event, or you can also send an email to myself if you have any questions. All right? So with that, thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you very much, DK, for that fascinating presentation. We appreciate you sharing how AI can be used to ensure compliance and also to enhance security, especially with abundance of fraud cases nowadays. All right, now it is time for the Q&A session. Please submit your questions via Slido QR code in front, and we will address them now.
Definitely. The answer is definitely yes. Yeah. So I've shown you a couple of examples, right? They are definitely using AI. Or they will do whatever they can to avoid detection. Yep. Okay, so did your solution produce false positive detection? Yes, we do. So to overcome it, we have our QA team to review any false rejection or false acceptance. So that's how we improve the quality of it, right? The quality of the verifications. Do we do crypto forensic? Yes, we do. Penny, yes? Okay. Yes, the answer is yes. We do crypto forensic. So if you want to know more about how we do it, again, please visit our booth. We will be able to share with you more in details, yeah? So the next question will be, is AI safe to use for company in financial industry? If you use it responsibly, and then you govern the usage of AI, of course the answer is yes, right? In the earlier session, the day one session, you also heard a lot of people talking about AI, the benefit of using AI. And then the earlier speaker also talked about, the benefit of using AI. Okay. Deepfake and Photoshop detection, how good are AI able to detect this? I imagine some will definitely slip through. Yes, so like I mentioned, based on our current technology, we are able to detect 99.95% of all the known deepfake generator. Okay, so we still have an error margin of 0.05%. Okay, that is the reason why it is important to provide or to have anti-fraud analysis, multiple layer of anti-fraud analysis at various stages of your verification or user onboarding, as well as ongoing monitoring. All right, if they manage to slip through one layer, you still have many other layers, yeah, to detect and stop them from making that transaction or coming onto your platform. How can we increase AI governance in the country? Wow, this is a very difficult question. So I'm not a regulator, so I guess I will not be able to answer that question. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Should the government have a law to include watermark in generative engine? Will that work? Yeah. It's something that I think the government is also trying very hard. Yeah. To have a watermark, especially on content that is generated by AI. Yeah, I think it will work. Yes, do you do mule account detection? Yes. One example is using our network intelligence analysis. The moment we see, for example, if we see multiple account opening using the same IP address, coming from the same IP address, coming from the same device with same background, right? That could be an indication of money mule or mule account opening, multiple account opening. Okay, so that's one example of detecting. Another example for ongoing transaction is you can actually configure rules, right? So for example, like student, if an applicant between 18 to 25 years old, okay, if they make, say, 10 transactions over a period of last 7 days with an aggregate amount of 10,000 or 5,000, I can flag that transaction. That could be a potential money mule activity. Okay, because a student will not be able to make that amount of, that number of transactions with the aggregate amount of 5 to 10,000 per month, per week. All right, so this is another way of detecting possible money mule activities.
Okay, possibly one more question.
Okay, what sort of money laundering cases that usually get detected via your system? Like example, multiple account opening, large amount of money transacted, okay? Another example will be a withdrawal, right? When we see a deposit, immediately we see a withdrawal, and the withdrawal is normally about 90% of the amount deposited, right? That could be another possible money mule activity or transactions, okay? All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, TK, for answering those questions. Thank you also for all attendees for the questions. And once again, thank you for your insights, TK. Next, we have Hemant Prasad, founder of Kratz, which is also one of our platinum sponsors and a visionary player in digital transformation solutions. Under his leadership, Crest has grown to become a leading player in ECM and digital operations across Southeast Asia, the US, and Europe. Let's hear from Hemant on how digital transformations can empower businesses to achieve sustainable growth.
Good morning, everyone. Let me just try how the slider works. Oh yeah, it does. So, my name is Hemant, and I'm between you and your lunch. So I won't try to sell you some solution. I won't try to propose you something very fancy about AI. I think we can talk. So my session is more about, let's discuss about AI. What is it? What do you think? And where do you think you can get there? So my session title is, AI is the myth, hype, or a game changer. So we have a few people in the room, so let me do a poll. How many of you think AI is a myth? Can you raise the hands? Nobody thinks AI is a myth? So I think you're pretty convinced with a lot of other speakers before me that AI is for real. How many of you think it's a hype? Any hands? There's only one who thinks that it's not a hype. So how many of you think that the game changer? Everybody thinks more or less that it's a game changer. All right. So let's walk through of whether I am able to influence you at the end of my presentation, and you would possibly leave for lunch with, I think, some food for thought and see whether you should be actually relooking at your judgment of what you did before. So I think we have seen a lot of positive news so far, right? So, AI can do magic in the banking, in insurance, in fintech. It's an incremental game changer. There are a lot of rules. Gartner is talking about it. Forrester is talking about it. Forbes is talking about it. Well, I think our world is going to change for good. Hopefully, we are not going to lose our jobs, but definitely it's going to make our jobs better. That's what we see every day, right? And then, of course, there is a lot of money, right? There is a lot of money in AI. As per the research, it's $1.3 trillion market by 2032. So hopefully, all of us, we can be rich. Maybe not an Elon Musk or Bill Gates, but I think we can get somewhere, right? And the AI investment is likely to grow as per Goldman. So there's a lot of money in AI for businesses, for customers, and I think it's definitely an opportunity that we have seen, of course, from the previous speakers. But I have something more to share with you apart from these two slides. Can we do a reality check? And all of you, are you ready for a reality check? Yes? Right. Let's do a reality check. One of the research which was done recently, which says more than 80% of the AI projects fail, wasting billions of dollars in capital and research. How many of you have come across this news? None? 1, 2, 3. All right. 77% of the employer lost on how to use the AI. How many of you are using AI currently? A few? Do you know how to use it effectively, or are you also amongst those 77%? I think I won't wait for that answer, but that's the research. And a pharma company in US, a big pharma company in US, actually canceled an AI deal with Microsoft. They were paying about $180,000 US. So you can, I have given the links. I'll say the slide deck, but you can click pictures if you want. $180,000 US a year for 600 users. So it's like a $300 US per user per year. They invested $180,000 US. At the end of year, the CIO decided to do an evaluation of how the Microsoft Copilot AI helped my business so I can submit a report to my board of directors. And of course, he was hoping for a good news. The article says the answers he got were the people were just writing fancy English emails by using AI. and it was not helping the business as he expected. And he said, I'm not going to pay $180,000 US in a year for people to write fancy emails. It's not worth it. These are all the news of last couple of months. I've got more. Gartner, everybody's familiar with the Gartner, says that 30% of the Gen AI projects will be abandoned after the proof of concept or POC by 2025, which is next year. And the businesses won't see the big return on the AI for at least few more years. We're not talking about weeks or months, okay? Few more years. And many projects will be abandoned, right? And then the CIO.com says the Gen AI bubble is about to bust. Time to rethink? Or should we go back to those positive slides that I had it in the beginning? Or do you want to stick with the reality? Right? What happens? What goes wrong? What happens? I think AI was good, right? It was going to change our life. It was going to improve our business. But there are a lot of casualties that we have just seen. What happens? What goes wrong? Any ideas? Anyone? Why the pharma company canceled? Yes, I told you. Why the Gartner says 30% of the project is going to be abandoned? Why the research says 77% of the employees don't even know, they are lost on how to use AI. So what are the businesses paying for? Any ideas? What happened? This is what happened. This is the assumptions we make. This is the assumption businesses make. And sometimes this is the assumption CIOs make. You give your data, you go to ChatGPT, you go to Copilot, you go to Google Gemini, you give your data, AI is magic, and you get the value. So I can go to the board of directors, I can go to the shareholder and say, look, my company is actually using AI. Right? That's what goes wrong. And that's why 77% of the people don't know how to use it. And that's why Gartner says 30% of the projects will just be abandoned. That is what is wrong with it. AI is not your supercar. AI will never be your supercar, which is going to accelerate your business and make you $1 trillion company. The OpenAI CEO, Sam Altman, I've heard rumors that he himself is going to quit OpenAI. I think some of his lieutenants have already quit. So if AI was so nice, why is the OpenAI CEO quitting or planning to quit, as per rumors, the OpenAI? This is not AI. AI is not your supercar. If you go back and spend hundreds or thousands of ringgits or millions of ringgits in implementing AI in your business, and I'm not trying to discredit the solutions which have been presented before, I'm just giving you a reality check. You have to keep your expectations right on what exactly AI is, how it works, what it does for your business, how to get the best value out of it. This is your AI. AI is the engine of your supercar that you're assuming. It's not your car. It's not the supercar which is going to accelerate your business. And, of course, the engine needs the fuel. What's the new fuel? Data. Data is the new oil. It has to be your data. Of course, there are more building blocks to it, right? You need to operate it. You should know how to put it for use in your business. You need to have guardrails to secure your data. You're not going to give your sensitive business data to an OpenAI, to a ChatGPT, or to a Copilot or a Gemini, and then complain later on, where does my data go, right? And then you need to continuously train the AI, just like you train your kids when you send them to the school, right? They go to the college later, and the learning continues. Can you say that you have been to the school, you've been to the college, you've done your degree, you've done your master's, and that is the end of your learning? Or are you still learning every day? So if as a human, you're learning every day, the AI must learn every day as well. That is how AI works. It's a Lego. You got to have the building blocks in place to make it a supercar. And unfortunately, this is a very loaded slide. I don't have a single block to tell you you can put your data, AI will do a magic, and will get you the value. I think this is too complicated to give you some sleepless nights. That is how AI works. Some of the successful companies, that's how they do it. You got to have your data in place. You got to select your data, you need to do the sourcing, you need to do the data synthesis. Patterns, organize it, and then you need to do the data engineering, doing the exploration, cleaning, normalizing it, so on and so forth. Do your model, so that's where the engine comes in, the artificial intelligence comes in, and then you need to operationalize it, and while keeping in mind that you are taking care of all the constraints of legal, ethical, historical bias, security, and what so on. This is the Lego. AI is a Lego. AI is not your supercar. If you can understand this loaded slide, I guess this is going to help you in a long way on how you actually put your AI in place. Right, and it's not cheap. So let me give you the heads up. I'm not sure how many of the speakers before me did talk about dollar values. It's a sensitive subject. I'm a salesman. When I go to a customer, talk about solutions, they always ask me, so how much? And I think we are very shy of telling you how much. So be prepared. It takes from $100,000 US to a few millions to actually get your Lego to become a supercar. If you are not up for this game, I think you should sit back, relax, think, and then strategize how do you want to get onto this journey. And don't just buy a supercar. Right? And I have only one more slide, so I'm going to leave you with a lot of time to enjoy your lunch later. So my final thought is on your AI, because the AI in the cloud is not aligned to your business, it's aligned to the company who owns it. It should be your business, your AI. And I think that's all I have to say. Thank you. I have the QR code, I have my emails. If you want to talk more, we have a booth outside for Crest Info Solutions. Happy to talk to you. You can scan the QR code, connect me with me on LinkedIn, and I think we can have the QR code now for the Slido app if you have any questions for me.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hemant, for that concise and exceptional presentation. We appreciate your sharing how AI can be instrumental in enhancing businesses to attain more growth. Now it is time for the Q&A session. Please submit your questions via Slido and we will address them now.
Will OSS lower the cost of AI? Well, I think the good news is AI is OSS. Any AI engine that is being used by, whether it's a Gemini or ChatGPT and so on, actually built on the public data of massive trillions of objects which are there in Wikipedia or on the Google search and whatnot. So yes, what you should adopt is basically the open source nature. So as I said, my final thoughts is the AI in the cloud is not aligned to your business. It is aligned to the company who owns it. So yes, OSS will not only lower the cost of AI, but it will be more aligned to your business. Would you say that AI is only a game changer provided that it is used with the building blocks? Absolutely, you got it right. AI will not be a game changer if you give your data to the Google or Microsoft or Amazon and they build intelligence of their AI engine on your data. you don't get value out of it. You are training somebody else's AI with your data. So you got to have your Legos and you're going to have your AI, which is trained on your data and which understands your business and gives you the output, gives you the value that you need. Aligning AI to our business rather than the company that owns it, how do you reconcile this with data concerns? We would still need to feed data to use it. Yes, you need to feed your data to it, but your data in your server, in your AI engine, in your data center. So you're not throwing your data out to ChatGPT or Gemini or to AWS Bedrock or Microsoft Copilot. So while you have your AI in your data center, in your server, of course there are no data concerns that you actually have because everything is in your control, right? You're not giving it to a third-party organization. You're not training somebody else's AI with your data. What would you recommend smaller companies considering AI solutions? Clearly, some are not able to afford it. Yes, you're right, because as we saw the list by Forbes, it can cost fortunes. So the smaller companies will have to be cautious on how they're going to use AI. I think one of the thoughts that I have is that the kind of solutions that they use at the moment, I guess a lot of solution vendors are also offering embedded AI to some extent, which I think can be a good approach for smaller businesses to start with, rather than trying to build your own AI infrastructure. And I'm sure if you see the value of the investment that you put in, you can possibly take a big leap as well. Is AI absolutely a necessity for large traditional business such as banks? Well, the fact with the hype is everybody rides for it, right? If a bank is not going to accept AI now, well, you will become possibly next Nokia or an upcoming Intel, right? So you got to ride it. You don't have a choice. You don't want to be left behind. My only 2 cents is you got to be cautious on how do you ride it. How many Lego blocks you actually procure and how do you put them together and how fast or slow you go, but I don't think you have a choice. Whether you're a bank or an insurance company, you don't have a choice. You got to ride the bandwagon off the hype. You do it at a small scale, medium scale, or at a large scale, that is up to how much appetite you have. Is there a way to measure the returns on AI investment based on your experience? Well, maybe too early, because I guess the hype cycle is just about less than 12 months maybe, right? That's what we are looking at. So I don't think I can give you a concrete data of how to measure the AI investments, but I think there can be some data points that you look at. So one of the customer that I'm working with, insurance companies churning out maybe like 1,000 quotations a month, and if AI can help you to generate maybe 2,000 through various digital mediums, I think that's a very, very strong data point on how the quotations or claims processing, etc., can be automated using the AI. So if you can do more work in less number of hours, I think that's how you can possibly quantify. What applications of AI do you see for government and regulators? Well, I do work, of course, with the regulator and the government. So again, my 2 cents would be, you can possibly analyze. So government and regulators work with a lot of unstructured data, a lot of documents. And I think analyzing those documents, getting the intelligence out of those documents quickly and making an informed decision is what AI can actually do. So something that I learned very recently in terms of statistics, every organization will have 20% structured data and 80% unstructured data. And a lot of time, structured data is analyzed, which is only 20% of it, but 80% of unstructured data is just kept in store, and it's never analyzed, the intelligence is never out of it. And the government and regulators do have a lot of unstructured. So AI can actually help you actually process those documents, unstructured data faster and make informed decisions. AI industry controlled by big corporations. The big companies want to dominate the monopoly and small LLM companies cannot survive. Okay. Well, partially true. The big corporations are monopolizing possibly based on the reach they have, but end of the day, if you talk about the open source LLMs, whether it's Llama or whether it's Mistral, they're all open source, right? So, and what's happening in the industry pretty fast, I think the AI industry is moving really, really fast. And the trend that I'm seeing myself, our team is seeing is, there is a demand and usage of much smaller LLMs, 2.5B, 3.5B, and so on, rather than the 400B or 700B LLMs, because the smaller micro LLMs or mini LLMs are possibly fine-tuned for a specific purpose. So what we do, our team does, is we actually pick up about a half a dozen of smaller LLMs, and each of it actually is good fit for one purpose. And then we put a wrapper on the top of it, and we have our gateway, which we'll call the respective LLM for one specific purpose, rather than actually deploying a 400B or 700B sort of LLM at the back. So I'm seeing that trend that the mini LLMs or the micro LLMs are actually gaining more popularity because they do specialized job rather than having one-size-fits-all theory, which I guess never works in any industry anyways. If AGI happens before end of the decade in some manifestation, however small the possibility, how to prepare for my business, career, and family? Well, I'm not sure what's the acronym of AGI. So I don't know how to answer. Sorry about that. Should all companies, big or small, adopt AI? Well, I think I've answered that before. You don't have a choice. You got to look at it. You got to pay attention of what you are doing or what your peers are doing in the industry or what your competitors are doing in the industry. Sometimes you don't have a choice. You got to ride the hype bandwagon. Which industry uses AI the most? At the moment, I guess a lot of fintech companies which are ahead in the technology, they use the most. So we have insurtech companies actually doing, some of the famous insurtech companies are actually using it. Some of the payment providers, fintech companies are using it in a big way because they are ahead in terms of technology anyways. They run everything on technology. So yes, that's the industry which is possibly the most. The lagging one, of course, I think it will still be regulators sitting in SC auditorium. I think I can still say that. But traditionally, of course, they have been cautious, so cannot blame them. But yeah, the fintech companies are possibly the most. Is algorithmic-based trading considered AI? Well, yeah, partially true. The only thing is whether you are updating that algorithm based on the data that is coming. So the only difference between algorithm-based and the AI-based is algorithm is possibly one fixed formula which possibly gets updated not at a very regular interval, while AI does its AI, of course, has its own algorithm as well, but then it updates based on the new data that you basically get, right? So I think that's possibly a minor difference, or I would say it's a major difference because AI updates, or you're supposed to update the AI with more and more latest data that you get in, rather than having a fixed algorithm. How can companies, how long would it take for a large institution to fully adopt AI? I was talking to EY. I think if some of the EY representative was in the room now, I was reading about EY, and I was also reading another large company. I forgot the name this morning. It took about 8 to 10 months or about an year. So if you really want to do, depends on what exactly you're trying to achieve. Whether you're trying to move the mountain, you're going to have an enterprise-wide AI, or you're just going to have departmental approach, right? So if you're going to have departmental approach, maybe a few weeks. If you're going to have an enterprise-wide, well, it might take a few months or possibly in a year. But that's a good guess. It's not a precise answer I can give you. How can company prepare their data for AI? Well, you got to look at your data first. I think the big challenge with a lot of companies is they don't know where their data is. I'm sorry to say that, but that's the harsh reality. You talk about banks, insurance companies, regulators, government, you have a lot of data silos. So the first thing first, you got to identify where your data lives. Once you know where your data lives, that's where you're going to start aggregating it. That's where you're going to start synthesizing it. And that's where you actually build your RAG system and whatnot. But until and unless you know where your data lives, you will never be able to get the true value of AI. So the first thing first, go back and ask, how many silos do you have? Where does your data live? I think I have one more question in the end. What do you think of copyright issues with the AI when used to generate works like stories, arts, music? Well, I think there's a lot of debate on it, and if I'm not wrong, the EU has put a law on it that anything generated by AI must have a watermark, and I think there was a question earlier in Sam's presentation as well that will it be a good idea for regulators to have something like that in Malaysia as well, right? So I think that's for the regulators to answer, but I think there are some precedent before in the West which possibly the East can adopt as well. Yeah, thank you very much for your introduction. Enjoy your lunch.
All right, thank you once again to the audience for the questions and also to Mr. Heman for the responses just now. Truly appreciate them. Before we go into to the lunch session, we are closing out this session with a presentation from Mr. Murali Krishnamurthy from Elation, our another gold sponsor for this summit. Murali brings 2 decades of experience in enterprise data management and currently leads the solutions engineering team for the APJ region at Elation. Let's welcome Murali to share his expertise on data management and AI.
Thanks, everyone. Agree with almost everything that Hemant mentioned, except I'm the one who's standing between you and lunch. So we'll get through this. So my name is Murali Krishnamurthy, and I'm very happy to represent Elation here. So today, I'm going to talk about the blueprint for AI readiness, right? How do we enable organizations to be AI ready? Who are we? From Elation, our vision is to empower a curious and rational world. So what does this mean? Our aim is to ensure there is decision making that is driven based on data, not based on gut instinct, not based on what worked in the past, rather based on the current and relevant data. So when you look at any organization, right, people within the organization go through this enormous discovery journey to find information or data that is relevant to them. So they go and talk to people, they try to understand the processes, they know, or by experience, they figure out which data sets are useful, right? Now, when you compare this with, let's say, your shopping experience in Lazada or Amazon or Shopee, imagine you're going to buy a pair of shoes or headphones, right? This whole search experience is self-service. So you go, you search for the shoes, you filter it by segments, you filter it by brands, you will never buy a product which has less than 4 stars, right? So you go through this process of self-discovery until you find the right product for you. You're able to read the description, you're able to look at the sizing charts, you know what the return policy is like. So the decision making is based on metadata, so information about this product. And there are tons of metadata in these catalogs, right? You go to Netflix, you pick a movie, you see information about the storyline, the trailer, the lead actors, the duration, right? So our life, we use catalogs in our day-to-day life. And what if you had a similar experience for your information assets within the organization so that you can find the information that is relevant to you, without depending on anyone, without the need to ask anyone? You know the processes to follow. You know the policies that you need to comply to. All this information is available in one single place. And that is exactly what Elation does. We help answer these questions. Can this data be trusted? Is the data up to date? Where is the data located? How should I use it? Who should I go and talk to? How do I gain access to this? What regulations do I need to comply with? So Elation becomes this entry point into the enterprise landscape. So it brings together data, technology, people, processes into one single place. So anybody would be able to come in, log in, and simply search, right? And it operates on the same principles as the best of breed catalog. So it simplifies data discovery. It helps you understand, builds context, and it helps people to work with information assets in a governed fashion. So when we think about all these AI frameworks, the key foundational layer that is underpinning these frameworks is the data, right? And Hemant touched upon it in his last session. And Alation enables or empowers organizations to leverage their information assets in the best possible manner. So Alation is what we would call as a data intelligence platform, like I mentioned. It brings together the people, the processes, the data, and the technology in one single framework. It's extensible, it's built for everyone within the organization. It's not IT-centric. Alation services every user within the organization, and it integrates into the enterprise landscape very seamlessly. So Alation as a platform is very comprehensive, but today I'm going to talk about AI, right? So at Alation, we see a twin-track opportunity for AI. One is the leveraging of AI to reduce the friction in the user experience. So, whether it's building automated descriptions, providing a better search experience, automation in terms of workflow, right? The other is where we are helping organizations govern their AI model and be AI ready. And we'll delve upon how we do this in the upcoming slides. So when you look at the current landscape, most organizations, most industry verticals, they are at an inflection point, right? There is an enormous opportunity with AI. So the McKinsey reports estimate that there is the economic opportunity at about $2.6 to $4.4 trillion annually. So what that means for organizations is they need to differentiate, they need to innovate, or they are going to get left behind. But to do this effectively, you need good quality data. Data is the foundation for all the AI and Gen AI models, right? The quality of the input, which is your data, is going to determine the final output of your models. Right? So the need for trusted data has never been higher. And if you notice, one of the common challenges is a lot of data initiatives fail. So again, if you look at the Chief Data and Analytics Officer survey, it says about 69% of data and analytics leaders are still struggling to deliver measurable return on investment. And why is that? There are 4 problems, right? The first is people are unable to find or discover data that is relevant to them. So data discoverability or information discoverability within an organization is very difficult. So imagine you're joining a new company or a new team, right? You're going to go and spend some time understanding who are the right people to talk to, what are the right data sets you need to access, how do you access it, etc. This takes time, and people kind of remember this, and it's all stored here, right? And how do you provide a common framework to search? So that's number one, data discoverability. The second is the ability to understand context. So what does this asset mean? So if I'm an ML ops engineer, I'm doing a customer churn analysis, which data set should I use? How should I use it? Should it be anonymized? Who should I go and get permission from so that I don't misuse this data set? Having this context, using that in the right manner possible, that is another key problem. So this again impedes productivity. If I don't know how to use the information asset in the right manner, then obviously that's going to either delay or break my data initiative, right? And finally, misalignment to business. What is the business problem that I'm trying to solve? Do I have executive buy-in? Is the leadership aware? Are there the right change management processes that have been implemented? Without these building blocks, any AI initiative will fail. So we have to ensure that before you have success in your AI initiative, you need to build up the foundational layer. You need to ensure your data management practices are set up so that your AI initiatives can leverage on this foundation. So when we look at the current state, right, a lot of organizations face these problems. It's very difficult for consumers to find trusted data. There is limited documentation or governance. There is a legacy architecture that people have to deal with. And this leads to the negative consequences. There are silos that inhibit the collaboration. Right? People are not aware of what information assets exist. What is the risk exposure because of the data misuse? Now, if you look at data breaches, about 43% of data breaches are due to user errors. How do you ensure your user group are aware of the right ways to work with the data? Now, AI being misused. Now, this is a critical problem, right? Consider you put up a sensitive document in OpenAI, and that information is being trained, and eventually that gets leaked, like that happened with Samsung. So how do you ensure your workforce is trained on the right way to use AI, right? That's where Alation as a platform comes in, right? And we want to take organizations to the future state where people can easily find information. All the data is documented, it's governed. You have trusted AI models that are delivering the right business outcomes. So this is what we aim to do as an organization in terms of helping enterprises be AI ready. Now, Alation as a platform, we call it the data intelligence platform. So it's built on 4 key pillars that I touched upon. We solve these 4 problems that I highlighted, which is data discoverability. So we provide a universal search across the enterprise. We help with the governance of data. Now, if you look at the financial services space, it's one of the most highly regulated industries, right? So they are the pioneers when it comes to data governance. Now, they are also branching into AI governance. How do I document my AI models? How do I govern them so that I can show to the regulator that, hey, see, all the sensitive information, whether it's customer data or credit data, none of this is being distributed, or there is no risk of this being breached, right? Data literacy is a key problem that we solve. Like I mentioned, building the context, helping users understand what information is relevant, servicing the right information to the right people at the right time. And finally, addressing the problem of data leadership, ensuring there is alignment to business outcomes, and ensuring there is executive buy-in. Now, based on this, we are promoting a data culture, like I mentioned, driving decision-making based on data. Alation addresses 3 key use cases. One is supporting self-service analytics journey. Second is supporting AI and data governance initiatives. And the third is data modernization programs, where people migrate from legacy systems into the cloud. So when you look at how enterprises are leveraging Alation to drive their data culture, right? So I want to call out some specific examples like NTT Docomo in Japan. So NTT Docomo is a very large provider of services, both B2C and B2B. They manage about 90 million subscribers. They provide services like credit cards, customer experience, to a wide range of these services, right? NTT Docomo are very data-driven. So they have about 8,000 employees, and they leverage Alation as the discovery zone to drive their analytics projects, to ensure their AI models are being fed with the right data. They have about 3,000 plus users who leverage Alation day in and day out to find the right information for them. The second use case that I want to talk about is Domain Group. Now, for those of you who are not aware, Domain is a technology company, right? They do real estate, but they do this based on data. Data is their lifeblood, and they service a wide variety of consumers, like their customers, agents, partners, through data initiatives. They have a data marketplace, which is very, very successful. And again, if you see, they have about 100 million data points to accelerate their AI model development. The third is GXS Bank across Singapore and Malaysia. So GXS are a digital bank, so they were born in the cloud, and they leverage Alation again as their discovery zone, empowering their analysts, right? Improving analyst productivity, ensuring people are having the right information at the right time, governing their data models. And finally, Spark New Zealand. So Spark New Zealand, again, leverage Alation to catalog their machine learning models. As you can see, they have about 900 plus machine learning models cataloged in Alation, so that everybody within the organization is aware of what these models are, what sort of data points are they touching, who's using them, and how they are being used. So promoting this visibility within the organization ensures that people are not repeating tasks. They are not wasting time on resources. They are able to reuse assets that have been created, right? And so leading to massive productivity gains. Now, when you look at predictive AI, why is data so important? So when you feed garbage into a system, it's going to spit out an incorrect response. So, we are all aware of the parlance, garbage in, garbage out. So it becomes very important to govern the data that is being fed into the AI models, making sure there is right information, there is the proper metadata, there are risk controls established, there is sufficient data quality. This is what Alation helps with. So at each stage in terms of training or building an AI model, Alation services in data discovery, in data profiling, and ensuring the quality of information, in terms of metadata versioning and traceability through granular lineage, and governance and compliance. So Alation provides end-to-end AI governance, right? And this ensures that the data that is being fed or trained is of sufficient quality. It is going to lead to better business outcomes. And when you look at LLMs, there are two concepts, right? You have, at the lowest level, you have prompt engineering. Then you have RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation. Then on the higher maturity level, you have fine-tuning an LLM to a specific domain. And eventually fine-tuning plus RAG, so that you're able to generate authoritative responses. Underpinning all this is your data, and that is where Alation helps. So from an Alation perspective, the data catalog acts as the foundational layer. It allows you to get all the data assets, it gets you the telemetry, and it provides you with enough context so that these data sets can be enriched with external data to provide the right outputs. So as organizations are getting ready for AI, here are some of the points that they should consider, right? One, are the AI initiatives aligned with the business goals? Is there a clear roadmap that prioritizes high-impact projects that are delivering value to the business? Can you find the data assets that you need to feed into your AI and ML models? Do you have a robust data governance framework that ensures data quality, data privacy, and data security? Are you prepared for the upcoming AI regulatory changes? How are you going to manage them? This is going to become a highly regulated space, considering the amount of data it's touching and the people that it impacts. So are you prepared to manage and govern your AI models? Have you established processes to integrate both structured as well as unstructured data to fuel your AI and ML initiatives. If you don't know what exists within the organization, how are you going to train your model? So that is another key consideration that people should have when they are planning an AI initiative. And finally, how are you modernizing your data stack with the legacy system? We are always going to operate in this hybrid world. So how are you going to manage both your on-premise or legacy frameworks along with your cloud ecosystems? How are you going to drive value? These are key questions that you should consider before you go into your AI initiative, right? Ensure the foundations are right to ensure the success of your AI journey. So thank you for that. That's pretty much my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Murali, for the mind-bending presentation about how AI can be beneficial in data management solutions, which have become more and more imperative in these days. Now, we open to the floor for the Q&A session, and please list down your questions via Slido, and we will do our best to address them all.
Okay, so what are some of the biggest pitfalls for companies rushing headfirst into an AI strategy? Without a proper business outcome that has been envisioned, without proper planning, you're going to obviously spend time and resources into implementing an AI strategy, right? Again, you have to ensure that your AI framework is delivering the right business outcomes. Let's take an example. If I was doing a credit risk decisioning model or a customer churn analysis model, I need the right data. I need the right people to be involved in this process. I need this to be a collaborative exercise with all the stakeholders engaged. So without having the foundational pillars, without good quality data, without the clear understanding of how this data is being used, when you rush into an AI strategy, it's not going to yield the right business benefits, right? So that would ensure your foundations are set right before you delve into or dive into an AI strategy. Okay, how long would it take to build a data governance initiative, considering my organization wants to invest in AI today? It's a great question, right? When you look at data governance or AI governance, there are 4 key pillars, like I mentioned: your data, your people, your processes, and the technologies, right? So there needs to be an effective engagement from all relevant stakeholders, that it's not just an IT process or a business process. Everybody within the organization should be involved. So as long as there is a clear understanding of what the outcomes should be and what needs to happen, and you're prioritizing the right things, it shouldn't take very long, right? So when companies have clarity, they're able to bring this into fruition very quickly. I've seen a company in Australia who went live in 8 weeks, 12 weeks, right? But there was an effort from their end as well. There is no silver bullet, right? Technology can only do so much. The most important piece in the puzzle are the people who are involved. So if you have the right people running these programs, you can get business benefits very quickly. How long does it usually take for large companies to be AI data ready? I would say it depends. Large companies have different business units, different domains, and some teams do these practices better than others, right? So depending on the maturity, and again, I'll go back to that point of the business use case that we are trying to solve. it's kind of like answering how long is a piece of string, right? So if you have the foundational pillars ready, some organizations are able to show value very quickly. And so that's why it's so important to ensure you have the basics done before you get knee deep into your AI initiatives. Is there any metrics to measure the quality of data we collected? Yeah, 100%, data quality is a very broad topic. We can keep talking about it for an entire day. There are metrics and then there are thresholds. What's the acceptable threshold for a metric or for a piece of data to be useful to the organization? So we can definitely define it. There is usually a scoping that happens before the implementation. One key call out that I will again highlight is for data quality, you need to engage business. Data quality cannot be just an IT-driven initiative. You need to ensure people have a clear understanding of what good looks like for the organization. So you have a variety of metrics around completeness, conformity, completeness, conformity, validity, etc. Is it possible to transition a large company to using AI? Yes. We see very large organizations in financial services, in healthcare, transitioning to AI. Now, are they all productionized from an external customer-facing application? Maybe not. A lot of AI initiatives are first pushed internally, and over a period of time, as organizations get better at this, they will start to push a lot of this to the end user. So yes, it's definitely possible, right? It just needs the clarity in thought process. It needs a clear, it needs alignment to clear business outcomes. It needs the right people engaged and the foundations to be set up. For small companies, what do you recommend for them to access good amount of data to build their own models? Again, if I read this right, every organization has their data, right? It's about ensuring you know what that data is, where it is located, who are the right people, and then you can start leveraging that data to service your business needs. So small or big, underpinning all this is the data that you own. Every organization's data is critical, right? So like Hemant mentioned, there's a large amount of data that's in unstructured formats. How do you mine them for information, right? So these are considerations that you should have, and then there is that alignment. Okay, what is your take on companies still on cloud journey and at the same time want to invest in AI? Is there any role that the data catalog plays there? Yes. So the data catalog basically creates this index of all your information assets in one place. So whether it's on-premise, whether it's on cloud, your traditional data warehouse still has a lot of relevant information, your historical pattern. You might just move it into the cloud, but that doesn't mean that data is obsolete, right? So 100% most organizations are on a hybrid framework, and they all can leverage the data for their AI initiatives, right? And the data catalog becomes the foundation here because it's going to not only just collect this information, it's about the insights that you get from the data. Who's using this data asset? How popular is it? Is it actually being used across the organization? So having that level of intelligence about your data is critical, and that's where a data catalog can help. How can AI help monitoring the accuracy and quality of data? That's actually a great point. So if you look at traditional data quality was always rule-based. So people built rules and they ran these rules and found out, what the deviance was from the acceptable thresholds. But now what we see is unsupervised machine learning, right? So you have data observability that are constantly tracking data streams as they enter into the organization. So we see a tremendous amount of scope for this to improve and also provide recommendations, right? Rather than react to situations, you will have more predictive data quality going forward or data observability going forward. what are the traits of approaches that differentiate successful companies to those who fail? Pretty much what I mentioned, right? The 4 key pillars: ensuring the basics are right, ensuring you know what data is available, how to use it, which is more useful to the organization, ensuring trust, ensuring governance, and then providing access to everyone within the organization.
Mr. Murali?
Yeah.
Perhaps one more question?
Sure.
Yeah.
For small companies, data is owned and run by the data team. How would you recommend to position data literacy when the team sometimes moves through hacky ways? Yeah, that's a good point. And this is where you need all the stakeholders to be involved. More importantly, this is where we see the advent of AI. So, now with AI, if let's say you have a small data team, you're not going to have the scope for documentation. You're not going to have the scope for, clear building that data literacy. So AI can do it. It can give you that starting point where you can use Gen AI to build descriptions, for instance, of data assets to ensure that whoever is looking at that asset or that metadata is able to understand the context. So there are ways, and semantic search is another useful methodology where, even though there are technical names, business users can use the terms that are relevant to them. The engine is smart enough to infer the meaning and then drive value, right? So this is where AI is going to help, and you're going to see more and more adoption here.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murali. Thank you for the questions from the audience as well as excellent responses from Mr. Murali. Okay, we have come to the end of the session. Thank you once again to all of our speakers for sharing their insights and groundbreaking work in artificial intelligence within the fintech landscape.